Good afternoon, Richland. This is Semi Bird, candidate for the Richland School Board, Position 3. As many of you are aware, my first video I posted that I stand in opposition of critical race theory. And I still stand in opposition of critical race theory. And when and if elected to the school board, I will continue to stand strong against critical race theory. Now, you deserve to know why, and you also deserve to know my position on race and racism. And I'm going to do that by kind of telling you my story. My story is how I was raised. My story is based on my life's experience. My story is based on my observations. So my story starts in the ghetto of East Oakland. I was born to a single woman with 7 children. My mom ensured that we were raised to take ownership for our actions. My mom ensured that we were raised to know that there were opportunities if we put our best foot forward, if we worked hard, if we did the right things. That's how I was raised. Now, let's just be very clear. As I was raised, it was the 1960s, okay, and the 1970s. And if anybody does not believe that racism exists, of course it does. And back then, my friends, it was rampant and off the charts. So if you want to know, have I been discriminated against? You're darn right I have. If you want to know, have I been spat in the face and called the N-word? Yes, I have, by a bully in grade school. Now, have I experienced other racism since? Not so much. It was a different time then, and this is a different time now. So let's speak a little bit about critical race theory. I posted on my Facebook page the tenets of critical race theory. Now, this is not from some right-wing conservative tabloid or some opposition or some racial organization. What I posted was empirical, based off of research, based off of the text of critical race theory, from the authors of critical race theory. The tenet of critical race theory that most disturbs me is the fact that racism exists institutionally, that our society is systematically racist. That would indicate that people are innately racist. And so I stated that I do not believe that the citizens of Richland, parents or students, are innately racist. Let me help define innately. Innately means inborn, a characteristic, being naturally predisposed to. Now, do I believe that children are born racist? I do not. Do I believe that people are innately racist? I do not. Racism is learned. Racism is taught. I believe that. I believe it comes from a position of ignorance, unawareness, not knowing, not opening your eyes and seeing the reality and the beauty and the diversity that our society brings forward. But when you tell me that the game is rigged against people, black and brown, you've got to understand my life story. I started out in the ghetto with nothing, right? When I was in school, you don't want to know my GPA. It's probably lower than anybody else who's listening to this video. So this begs the question, how can I go from poverty, being born before civil rights, to becoming a successful businessman, debt-free, living the American dream? Well, let me tell you, it's because of how I was raised. I was raised to take accountability for my actions. My mom taught me that there was no limit to what I could achieve if it was something that I believed. And I lived my life that way. And I continue to live my life that way. I do not believe that there is value in teaching our children to hate one another because of race. I don't believe there's value in bringing divisiveness into schools to our children. I believe, if anything, we should teach our children the American dream is achievable for anyone, regardless of race. Now, is there racism? Absolutely. Is there racism in Richland? Probably. Have I experienced it? Absolutely not. Let me tell you something. I know all of the presidents of the largest employers of this city and of this region. Not one of them is racist. I know the senior executives of our largest academic institutions. Not one of them is racist. I know the hundreds of managers that I have trained in my leadership academy. Not one of them is racist. You would say, how would you know that? Well, I don't know for sure, but I know based off of my interactions and how I was treated and that mutual respect that we exchanged. They gave me no reason to make an assumption that they were racist. They treated me with kindness and respect. Now let's talk about our city government. Our city government. I know the chief of police. I know the captain of operations. Both men are good men. How do I know this? One was my student, and the other one, we had an intimate talk in a park. And that gentleman said, Simi, with everything going on in our country, I want to make sure that we are aware that we are doing everything within our power so that all of our citizens understand that they are valued and respected by our police department. Now, does that sound like someone who's racist? I don't think so. I've met the number one leader of the Department of Energy here locally. I stood on stage with this gentleman. He is a gentleman. And if you want to know if I think he is racist, I'm going to tell you no. I know what they're doing at the Department of Energy to bring value and diversity to their workforce. I know how they volunteer within the community, create value for citizens of all colors. This is my story. This is what I've seen. Now, am I not entitled to my story? Am I not entitled to my life's experiences? That is what shapes my perceptions and my opinions. And so when I say that I do not believe that our city is racist, it's based on my perceptions, my opinions, and my observations. I've been here for over 26 years. The other day we had a get-together, a little fundraiser. One of my dearest friends, I'll just say Jim, someone who I love, and I'm going to try not to get emotional. He walked in the door. I was already addressing a group of friends. As he was passing me to take a seat, he said, I love you. This is a white man who served his country in Vietnam. In my opinion, an American hero. He sat down and he listened and he supported. I say again, as he walked past me, sorry I'm late, Simi. I love you, brother. He was raised in the 50s, served in the 60s. He is a Richland bomber and a proud Richland bomber. This is my experience. This is my life. And yes, I married a white woman. As some have said, you're a sellout. You're a betrayal to your race because you married a white woman. This is the mother of my children, my friends. That's the best decision I've ever made. And my beautiful babies are the best things that have ever happened to me in my life. So let's talk about race. If you can bring me compelling evidence that our city is systemically racist, I will act on it. If you can bring me compelling evidence that the majority of our citizens are racist, I will act on it. But my job on a school board is to look at the curriculum that's coming down to our children. And so let's talk about what I would do. Absolutely no to critical race theory, but absolutely yes to bringing in curriculum that celebrates the beauty of our ethnic backgrounds, to celebrate the uniqueness and beauty of our heritages. Now, this applies to all children, black, brown, and white. I never want a child because they are white to feel I am privileged and I'm less than someone else, and that I should feel guilty because of something that happened many, many, many years before I was even conceived. That is just plain wrong. Here's what I will do. Let's bring in curriculum that unites, that unifies, that educates. Ignorance is a darkness. Racism is born out of darkness. It's born out of ignorance. Knowledge is a power. Knowledge is a light when shined in the mind and shined in the heart, illuminates. It gives you a greater understanding and a greater feeling of love. This is the curriculum I stand by, and this is the curriculum that I will bring forward or support if given the opportunity to serve in the school board. All I ask is that you give me my right to my life and my life stories. Now, that being said, there were others from what I've seen on the post on my Facebook page. Your life stories are different. You deserve that. You own that. And we need to listen to you. Always. And I would. All I ask, if you want to have a conversation like this wonderful Hispanic gentleman that sent me a text first or a message on Facebook. He said, Simi, I would like to have a heart-to-heart. I would like to talk about your views on critical race theory. Now, let me just say, this gentleman would more likely be predisposed to not supporting that position. But he approached me with kindness and respect. He says, "Can we talk?" And guess what? Last night we spoke together. Oh, wow. I think both of our lives were transformed. I'm so proud of him and I support him. And by the way, I think he's going to run for a position in his local government. And I'm going to support him because he is a unifier. I want to be a unifier. My friends, I don't want to divide. Can we not empower our children to see the greatness in our country? Can we not empower our children to aspire to bigger and better things? I go back to my life. I started with nothing, and arguably I have anything I could ever want. I have lived and realized the American dream. And let me tell you, no one gave me anything. I fought for it, I bled for it, I served for it. And this is an opportunity for me to fight for and to serve the citizens of Richland and to stand by my beliefs. But at the same time, we need to listen to the stories of others. Now, let me say this very clearly. I will look at, and I am starting right now to request any and all data on any incidents of racism, bullying, and targeting children because of their color, their backgrounds, their heritage, their preferences. It's not to be tolerated. Zero tolerance, no excuses. It's not just a policy. I want to know, what is our procedure for dealing with it? Zero tolerance means zero tolerance. Now, that being said, to curriculum, let's bring in curriculum that unifies our children, that shows them opportunity, that facilitates love and compassion for one another, regardless of race. I want our children to not judge each other based on the color of their skin, but based on the content of their character, as my role model, my hero, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. stated. I stand by that, and I hope that we can unify, come together, and have kind and respectful dialogue. Everybody's stories deserve to be heard, and I support it. Let me be clear on another item. If you disagree with me, you deserve your opinion. Your stories are valid. I support your opinion. I bled for your opinion. All I'm saying is, let's be kind and respectful of one another, and let's discuss the issues. And most importantly, let's find solutions. Facta non verba, deeds not words. I am a man of words, but more than ever, I am a man of action. And if given the opportunity to serve, I promise you this: our children will not receive curriculum that divides them. I will do everything in my power to ensure that our children receive curriculum that unites them. Richland, thank you for your time. I appreciate you listening to me, and God bless you all. Thank you.